Well, thank you so much for finding time and be with us on Parliament Television and Parliament Radio. And we're back on your screens and your airwaves. And my name is Paulson Tindovi.
Good morning to you all our viewers out there. This is Pauline Monga to be with you on the highlights for business that was discussed yesterday during the sector budget analysis by the various committees that are sitting in Parliament buildings and at Mulongoshi International Conference Center. Paulson, we look at just a few of the committees that sat yesterday.
Yes, committees have been sitting since last Friday when the Minister of Finance presented the 2026 estimates and revenue for the year beginning 1st January 2026 and ending 31st December 2026. And we had the Committee on National Security, and this committee we had the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Internal Security. Honorable Mulambe Hayimbe did make a policy statement, and we did see, that's the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, I beg your pardon, and Honorable Mulambe Hayimbe did present a policy statement and received submissions from this ministry. In 2025, the budget allocation was 2.1 billion. And in 2026, the Minister of Finance proposes to spend 2.71 billion kwacha, representing, if approved, an increase in terms of percentage to 27.5 increase. Pauline.
Yes, Paulson, we also had the Committee on Cabinet Office, which is Head 2, and this falls under the office of the Vice President, and we did see Honorable Mutale Nalumango, the Vice President, present a policy statement on Head 2, which is Cabinet Affairs. And last year, I must mention that this expenditure for last year was 156,875,795 kwacha, and for 2026, what is being proposed is 153,298,473 kwacha, and there is a decrease in the proposal for 2026.
And the Committee on Local Government Accounts were receiving submissions regarding Head 88, Muchinga Province, and it was interesting to see and hear the Provincial Minister of Muchinga Province presenting a policy statement, and the Minister of Finance, if approved, proposes to spend in 2026 118.3 million kwacha.
And the other committee that sat yesterday was the Committee on Local Government Accounts, and they considered Head 95, which is Eastern Province. And for last year, the expenditure was 147.7 million kwacha. What is being proposed for 2026 is 168.1 million kwacha, which also shows that there's an increase in the proposed expenditure for next year.
And yesterday, appearing before the Committee on Cabinet Affairs, when they were receiving submissions regarding Head 39, it was Her Honor, the Vice President, and did present a policy statement. And in 2025, the Vice President's office was supposed to spend about 451.1 million, and in 2026 the Minister of Finance proposes to spend 1.45 billion if approved, to represent an increase of 22% increment there.
And the Committee on Education, Science and Technology considered Head 66, which is Ministry of Technology and Science, and the the acting Minister of Technology and Science did present a policy statement, and last year the expenditure was 1 billion. Was for 2026, what is being proposed is 1.3 billion kwacha. There is also an increase in the proposal for next year.
So basically that's what was considered on the floor of the House, or should I say in various committees. We have an extension of Parliament at Mulungushi Conference Center where quite a number of committees with their chairpersons are interacting with various stakeholders regarding the 2026 proposals that were made by the Minister of Finance last week on Friday. So which committee are we televising live on TV and which one will be on radio today, Pauline?
This morning we have the Public Accounts Committee sitting at Mulungushi, and we will televise that live on Parliament television. Whilst we have Ministry of Media, Committee on Media and also Health that will come on Parliament radio. So we may also have a small chance of bringing in probably the Committee on Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
All right, so that's what you expect for the day today. Members of Parliament are very busy scrutinizing the 2026 proposals, and at lunch break we'll be able to give you a recap of what will have been considered today in various committees. That will be from 13:30 through to 14:30 thereabouts. So I'd like to urge you to be with us. But for now, Pauline, we need to shift our attention and look at the 2026 post-budget analysis. My guests are already in the studio, and today we look at a very interesting sector, the education sector. Your take?
Yes, President, the education sector, you know, there is a new curriculum and everything is new. So we look forward to seeing what will be happening in the next few years as they roll out the new curriculum. The minister yesterday actually did mention about it being rolled out in phases. So we look forward to that.
So my two guests that I have for today, I do have the chairperson of the Committee on Education, Science and Technology, Honorable Kamboni, who is also Kalomo Central Member of Parliament, and I also have Zanek, Executive Director, to be with us. For now, we'll take a break. Education is vital in Zambia as it plays a crucial role in the country's socio-economic development. It equips citizens with the knowledge, skills and competence necessary to contribute to the workforce, drive economic growth and improve living standards. Education also helps to reduce poverty, inequality and social injustices while promoting informed decision-making, critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Today, like I mentioned earlier on, we look at the education sector, and my name is Paul Ndovi. My two guests that I have in the studio earlier on, I did introduce them. I have Mr. Harry Kamboni, Member of Parliament for Kalomo Central, and he is chairperson of the Committee on Education, Science and Technology. And Honorable, thank you so much for being with us this morning, and congratulations on your re-election as chairperson of the committee. And happy Teachers Day. Once a teacher, always a teacher.
Oh yes, happy Teachers Day too.
All right. So any plans in Kalomo where teachers will converge? And
oh yes, they are definitely converging today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a big occasion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big occasion.
All right. Also joining us on set this morning is the Executive Director from ZANIC, and this is Mr. George Hamusunga. Thank you so much for waking up early this morning. And last week, we had the other week, I should say, we had a technical hitch. You were here in the morning, but we thank God you're here again. How is ZANIC doing?
Well, ZANEC is doing great, busy as well. We've just completed the analysis of the budget in preparation for appearance before the Parliamentary Committee on Education, Science and Technology next week on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll begin with you. How do you make of the 2026 national budget, the 253.1 billion kwacha that the minister has proposed to spend in 2026?
Well, it is great in terms of increase. I think we've seen an exponential increase in the base of the national budget, and of course that in itself, has demonstrated, the progressive, improvement in main sectors. But if you allow me to talk about the education sector, which I know best, I would say that the budget is very progressive. As you know, we have been allocated 33 billion, which is a 1.5 billion increase from the 31.5 billion that we have for 2025. Okay. Our analysis as ZANEC really is based on what we call a 4S framework, which I'll quickly explain. The 4S framework looks at the size. So the size of the budget, as you have seen, it has increased by 1.5 billion. And therefore, we are happy to see that. And the sector has remained one of the priority sector for government, which is good. Then when we look at the sensitivity, of the budget, we are talking about the ability, by government to put money where we can address inequalities in the sector, and this is in gender and disability. But for gender, you may wish to know that when you look at the budget, you'll see that we have what we call the gender equity and the...
I know we'll get to the nitty-gritty of the budget, but before I move on to the Honourable Member of Parliament of Kalumo Central, who is the chairperson of the Committee on Education here at Parliament, are you comfortable with the 13% of the total budget allocated to education?
Well, that's the share in the 4S framework. So the share of the budget, of course, has reduced from 14.5% to 13%. That is not good in the sense that the research has shown that we need to spend a minimum of 20% of the national budget to education.
That's according to the Abuja Declaration.
Yes, for us to be able to deliver quality education. So in terms of the share, we still have a long way to go, and we are disappointed really that although we are on a good trajectory, we have started declining, and this is all because of the increase in the base of the budget as well. That's why we see the share reducing while the nominal increase is showing in terms of the size of the budget.
Let me move to the chairperson of the committee. You're interacting with various stakeholders that are making submissions regarding the heads that you are considering as a committee. Maybe the same question that I asked Mr. Hamusunga. 33 billion kwacha that has been allocated to the education sector. Is that enough?
Well, it's remarkable, really, looking at our circumstance here. Sometimes I get surprised how this government is able to raise money. We have the debt that we are servicing. 2021, we didn't service the debt. It was only interest. 2022, now we are servicing the debt, and this year it has been increased, and we are managing. So again, to manage to have this amount of money to education is quite remarkable. What you shouldn't forget also is that CDF, part of CDF really goes to education, a lot of it. Like in my constituency, I did all the desks that were required for the whole constituency, but that is not reflected in the main budget. So as they have increased CDF to 40 million, you have quite a number of millions from this CDF going to education. So really, I think it's still quite remarkable. Like I said, with the increase to CDF, some constituencies will use almost half of that money towards education. Okay. We've built teachers' houses, we've built classroom blocks, we have built laboratories, desks being done. Okay. And the president has said by now, he didn't want any child to sit on the floor. So really, I think so. When you're talking of about 13%, you must also somehow get a few percentages from CDF to add to that 13%. Okay. That would be the correct. So it needs a bit of mathematics to sit down and see. Yeah.
But the same 33 billion kwacha, how do you think this amount will impact? Earlier on with my colleague Pauline, we're talking about the minister was on the floor of the House yesterday making some clarification regarding the new curriculum that the Minister of Education has rolled out. How do you think this 33 billion will impact on the new curriculum?
No, already you see we have a set of textbooks coming now. I think they should be read by now. Okay, the textbooks will be done, written by Zambians, reflecting really our needs in our society. You see, the curriculum, what people should understand is, we should have done that a long time ago. I remember degree holders from University of Zambia used to be degraded when they went to South Africa. In UK, they were degraded. Why? Because they thought they didn't do advanced level. But the University of Zambia had incorporated advanced level, but they never gave a certificate for advanced level. So therefore, our degree was downgraded. But now with this new curriculum, which take now advanced level, yeah, it has been removed from university, bring it to schools now. So now, our degrees will be graded like any other degree in the world. They will not be downgraded because they will have a certificate for advanced level, and which is really what the country needed. So that you see, it was painful. You would find our degree holders knew a lot, far better, and maybe the best in the whole region. But because of that structure, they were pulled down. I could see them helping people, workshops who are so. I think this is a milestone. Now we are meeting international standards. It will be very fair to our children. We used to have sometimes O level. We send our learners abroad, like in School of Medicine. When they go there in other universities, like talk of Cairo University, when you go there, straight they go into medicine. There's no doing advanced level. When you come here, the first year, you are doing advanced level at the University of Zambia. So our students were disadvantaged when they went to such areas because they never did advanced level and they would go straight into the area of specialty.
All right, if you wish to be part and parcel of today's presentation of the 2026 post-budget analysis, feel free. The number that we're using is 0978 772801. That's 0978 772801. You can also make use of our Facebook page, the National Assembly of Zambia, and the YouTube page. Let's get interacting, and I'll be able to read your text message in a few minutes' time. And remember, today we are looking at the education sector. Ms. Hamusonga, the issue to do with curriculum, the new curriculum that has been introduced, how did ZANEC receive? Because it will have an impact, and the Minister of Finance did say there is a significant amount that has gone towards the new curriculum that government is rolling out.
Yes, maybe in terms of allocation to the curriculum, first we would like to say, they are progressive. The curriculum reform started in 2023. 2023 did not have a single budget, not a one kwacha towards the budget. 2024 never had a budget, not even a one kwacha. 2025, they allocated 150 million kwacha towards the curriculum. 2026, they have projected to allocate double that, which is 300 million kwacha towards the curriculum. I must mention that, that this is progressive when you see the figures, but in terms of the amount of money required for the curriculum, the projected, for instance, amount by the ministry just for textbooks and materials for 2026, when they start running the second stream, is 800 million. That is only for teaching and learning materials, no equipment and no training for teachers in terms of orientation. But I must mention that the government has always been very good. The ministry has, I think, the most passionate people about improving things. When they were given 150 million kwacha for 2025, they also mobilized an additional 130 million from the cooperating partners, making it 280 million. That is what has enabled us to try and improve implementation for the classes that we are piloting for 2025. So the hope is that the ministry will continue to galvanize the cooperating partners so that they can raise almost as much as what government has allocated, so that we can bridge the gap in financing for the curriculum for 2026.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Honorable, I know you in the House, you are very excited when you heard the Minister talking about recruiting about 3,500 teachers by 2026. And maybe the question would be, what strategies can be employed to ensure that teachers are deployed to underserved areas? You are coming from a rural area, you have schools in your areas, but most of them, they want to be near town in Kalomo district, and others would want to come to Lusaka. And the policy that government has introduced, reuniting families, I think that has also posed a challenge to various sectors, various ministries in our country, be it health, education, and maybe how can we make sure that the 3,500 teachers that the ministers proposed to recruit in 2026 are deployed to areas that are under service?
Well, first of all, I think employing them from, if we decentralize the employment like we did the other time, where people are employed from their own districts, that is also step number one. It also helps in terms of accommodation. But really, the minister has been very firm now. Other than if you don't have, if it's not marriage issues, union, I have been very firm that you have to serve a certain number of years before you can actually be transferred. I think it must be there in the agreement. And every citizen, I think they should all be, willing to serve fellow Zambians. Life is more interesting in rural areas. I don't know why people don't want to live. I live in a rural area. I don't really like Lusaka. Every weekend I go to my constituency, rural. I love rural life. It's cheaper, it's good, air is fresh, no stress, much stress, So I think really the government is doing very well in terms of being firm on transfers, and they must maintain that. Because if you check even the current budget now for education, they spend about 5 billion on transfers.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
Zanek, teachers, the 3,500 teachers, how can government make it possible for these teachers that will be employed in 2026 be deployed to underserved areas?
Well, I think from 2022, government actually has, been very good at ensuring that they implemented centralized recruitment of teachers. They have developed an electronic system that has been very efficient in terms of ensuring transparency and accountability in the recruitment. And they have designated districts, human resource committees to be responsible for the recruitment, which is very good. And they have done so well. So in terms of recruiting teachers and sending them to the right schools, that has happened. But the problem is just what you are saying, that although the law provides for teachers to stay in their stations for 4 years, they have decided, most of them decide to come back to, urban areas. Now we have about 60% of the teachers in urban areas, which is not good for the country. And therefore, these recruitments, we are not benefiting as a result, because teachers are not being allocated to areas where they are needed most.
Honorable, the biggest challenge that we've had year in, year out, more especially when you formed government in 2021, when we saw a massive recruiting of teachers in various disciplines, is the issue to have teachers in sciences and mathematics. How best can we improve the status quo on the ground? Because you have these 3,500 teachers that will be employed. Take, for instance, maybe 3,400 will be these teachers that are teaching common subjects. Only maybe a handful of teachers that will be in sciences and mathematics. How best can we address that challenge?
We need to, you see, for me, if something is important, everyone needs it. This idea where science should be taken by special, that should end. In Botswana, everyone takes pure science. Yeah, everyone takes pure science. You're saying this is important, and yet you are denying some students not to pay. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. So we should open up. First of all, everyone should take pure sciences, because science is important. It's a question of how we change the modalities of, impacting science, guiding learners. Every person should be able to do sciences. So they should all take sciences, not where you have science class, others are not, and then you say science is important. So I think that's the starting point. And also, you see, the way we've been employing now, we have been employing less degree holders. I don't understand why. Okay. Our system has not been able to capture degree holders. You would find somebody that's got a degree in primary school, they leave. Who has actually spent more years training, they get a diploma holder. So even in nursing now, if you have a degree in nursing, chances are that they will not take you, even under replacement. And yet these are the people that are more trained.
What could be the problem, Honorable? Is it the
they need to change the structure system,
because they know that a degree holder will demand more?
It's not about demanding more. It's not about demanding more. It's what somebody deserves to get. You know, and we have even, okay, for teachers, yes, for other civil servants, because we have so many, over 40,000, that have degrees and are not yet graded accordingly. Why? Because waited for too long. But also the structure system has to change. The structure system scaling of salaries and so forth should immediately be able to accommodate a degree holder. You don't have to wait to say you must have a position for you to be employed as a, you know. Why should it be like that? It's clear. You go to Southern Africa, you'd find a degree holder, he's got a scale. You don't have to wait for a position to get so that you are paid according to your degree. You know. So, but it's issues of money, and that we have so many of them, but they are reducing them. The government is doing a good job to reduce the numbers. But I think, so coming back to your question, we need to give chances to degree holders, same like any other qualification.
Ms. Amusonga, the issue to do with science teachers and mathematics having few in various learning institutions, how best can we improve the status quo? I'm sure at ZANEC you've done a research and you have some solutions to this cancer, I should call it.
Yes, that's a very good question, and you know, it's important for us to realize that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are very critical in terms of you know, building the skills and innovations that we require as a base for our development. You know, for us to create the technologies that we need to do that. The unfortunate thing is that no one is going to do that for us, because no one wants to invest in us to be able to be independent in terms of our skills, in terms of our innovations, because that's where everyone wants to leverage. So it's important to realize that Zambia now has adequate science, technology, and engineering and mathematics trained people. If we said this 3,500 recruitment is only for those that did sciences, I can assure you that that's when we will see that we have a lot of people. What we have been doing really is that we have not prioritized in the recruitment.
So some great proposals from ZANEC, Honorable, and you interact. You are leading a committee on education where you just pass a deliberate policy. Half of the total number of teachers that are earmarked for recruitment in 2026 will be allocated to science teachers, those who are doing engineering and mathematics. Would you think that is a workable idea or plan?
Well, it is workable. Like, you know, my colleague here said, we have quite a number of, but they should be scaled accordingly. You know, if you don't scale them accordingly, they will go elsewhere. Yeah. You know, it's not good a degree holder to be paid like a diploma holder, no. But if they are scaled correctly, they will definitely. We have enough human resource in that field, really. So I think if they could say maybe now we employ more, I don't know if they could do the need assessment. How many teachers do they need now for science? I mean, I'll give you one good example, David Kaunda. They want to have one teacher for agricultural science.
Okay.
You see? A very useful subject.
One.
Only one teacher.
Wow.
Yeah. So the intake that is in grade 11, they are not offering it because they don't have a teacher. So really there is need for science teachers.
Okay.
Yeah, there is need.
Let's talk about the free education. I know on the floor of the House we do hear concerns from various members of Parliament talking about the free education, and the major concern is the quality of education that these kids are receiving, and also overcrowding of pupils in class. Maybe I'll start with ZANEC. Your take on the free education? Are we getting the quality?
Well, for free education, I think we need to realize that that is a very good policy. Very, very good policy, which has worked very well because, you know, the communities have accepted it, and therefore they have responded positively by taking the children in school. Over 2 million children now that have come in school. That in itself is a very good achievement for the country. In terms of quality, quality is not achieved overnight. Well, if we go to start discussing about the quality of education, you may see that what is obtaining now has nothing to do with free education. In 2019, for instance, a study was done by government and you know, OECD under their program for international student assessment, PISA, and they found that only, you know, 5% of the 15-year-old children demonstrated proficiency in literacy. And what that means is that only 5% of the grade 7 were able to read a single passage. That is 2019, before COVID came. Mm-hmm. After COVID, the World Bank did a study in 2022 amidst COVID and found that the learning poverty for Zambia was at 98.5%. And learning poverty simply refers to, the number of learners who are able to read a simple passage by the age 10. They should be able to read and understand a simple passage by age 10. So it has been there before free education came. The issue is that what measures are we doing in terms of, addressing the quality issue? And that is what we need to say. So we have, programs like the Catch-Up program that is being implemented by the Ministry of Education, UNICEF and VVOB and TAU, which is a flagship program that has taught us how to improve learning outcomes in our schools. So we have opportunities that we can leverage as a country to try and improve that. But otherwise, if you look at assessments done by the ECZ, you will see that the learning outcomes have been low from 1999 when they started doing those. They have been oscillating around 40%. And there is nothing actually that we can say, not even COVID actually reduced our learning outcomes as much, and this is the positive thing. So they have been moderate, and we just need to do a lot to try and improve them.
Shortly, I'll be reading out the few text messages that people you've been sending in, so keep sending those text messages if you're listening us on radio. Thank you so much. And those of you that are with us on our Facebook page, we do have James KP watching from Northwestern Province in Solwezi there. Thank you so much. And we have Mike Mapenga from Joma in Southern Province. Jonathan Lukuma, you're watching from Northwestern Province, and thank you so much. Honorable, the issue to do with free education, overcrowding in classes, and the quality of education that is given to these children.
Maybe the question should be, what is better for this learner? To be at home or to go to a crowded class? So let's assume there was no free education. This 2.3 million that came to schools, and another number this year would have not managed. Maybe it would have gone to 3 million. What kind of citizen would they have been? Or to be junkies? There are a lot of things we learn at school. It's not only to learn how to read and write. That's where people make mistakes. From the school, you can learn leadership qualities. You'll be given responsibilities. It's not always in classroom that they learn everything. You can become a very good footballer, the best footballer in the world from school. You can learn extracurricular activities that are at school. You can learn gardening. There are a lot of things that you can learn. So first of all, to remove the 2.3 million, which is the population of certain country like Botswana. In Botswana, there are about 2 million. And you have now 2.3 million that joined in students because of free education. So they are better off being in school, and there are many things that they learn from there. And if you look at Catch-Up, Catch-Up has got a method of handling even 90 students in a classroom. I went to Kalomo I'm a champion of Catch-Up. And I went to a classroom, I sat for the whole day. I went to Bwacha Community School, and I also went to Munyenye Primary School with VOV and other sponsors. And I was very impressed how a teacher was able to manage so many students in a classroom. You were put in groups, Catch-Up, they were all from various grades. Grade 5, grade 4, grade 3, they were all in there, crowded. But the teacher put them in such a way that they were all able to get something out of it. And they were all being taught at their same level.
But what should be the ideal situation, Honorable Member? Because these kids are overcrowded, and believe me, the concentration levels, I think, there won't be that much. No matter the teacher that you witnessed interacting with these pupils, maybe one of the many that we have that can pay particular attention to such a crowded classroom. But what should be the ideal situation?
Well, the ideal, you see, you're talking about the ideal now. But for me, I'm saying the ideal is to remove a student from home where he's doing nothing. And so if let's say 2.3 million were at home, which is the population of Botswana, all these kids not going to school because they don't have the money. And the following year, the number would increase. So what kind of citizens would you have in a country? So like I said, I went to this Catch-Up class. I'm a teacher by profession. Yes, I'm taught to handle very few students, but I'm saying I was very impressed. I think in that class, there were more than 70 pupils. And I took part in what they were doing. The way the teacher was demonstrating catches everybody.
Maybe the teacher knew that the honorable member is here and is a chairperson of a very critical committee.
We went around to see, but at least I could see the hands from the learners. And then we went to another school. First there was a catch-up in literacy, and then went up to numeracy. And we were able to see. We were very impressed.
All right, let's
Yes.
see if we do have some text messages that we have on our screens. Remember, the number that we are using is 0978772801. We are looking at the education sector. Let's see if we do have some text messages that have come through this time. All right, this one comes from, okay, there's no name there. Good morning, Honorable Kamboni and Mr. Hamusunga. It is true, when grade 9 pupils fail, they are taken back to grade 6. Okay, it's asking, is it true that when you sit for a grade 9 examination, if you don't do well, you'll be taken back to grade 6, and somebody's seeking clarity there. Let's see another text message if we have another one. This one coming from Simbe, all the way from the Copper Belt. I think the budget is just okay, as he explained. That's true, and not only that, in the budget there are also teachers recruitment before the end of the year and 2026. So I agree to it. Just okay on education sector. Thank you so much. Somebody is agreeing with what my panelist is talking about. O'Brien Sebitwani in Joma. Good morning. I think the introduction of a new curriculum, it's a very good idea, and we are looking forward to see how our children will cope up. Thank you so much, O'Brien, for a text message. Let's see if we have another one. This one comes from Mwana Wachi. Since GCE is done away with, what do you think of those thought they can take themselves back to school, somewhat make their paper better? Okay, somewhat make their papers better. Okay, talking about improvement there. Thank you so much. The issue to do with GCE from Manawachi. Another text, if we do have, let's see. Okay, all right, seems like those are the only text messages. Before you respond, maybe if you'd want to comment there, let's get back to the minister's speech last week on Friday. He did say that he has allocated 2.6 billion to education infrastructure, which 1.6 billion is for the construction of 120 secondary schools, while 300.5 million is for the completion of the stored hostel projects at the Copperbelt University and the University of Zambia and other public universities. We saw the Republican president with the Minister of Education touring both campuses, Ridgeway and Great East, and talked about the stored infrastructure. And here we are. We are seeing some figures allocated. I'll start with Zanik. The allocation, the 2.6 billion towards education infrastructure.
That is very progressive. Let me explain this. When you look at the higher education budget, for instance, it has increased from last year's 2.1 billion to this year's 2.8 billion, which is over 700 million increase. And when you look at secondary education, you talked about 120 schools. Secondary education budget has increased from 7 billion in 2025 to 10 billion, by over 3 billion. And this 3 billion, which we have invested in secondary education, actually, is more than what some ministries are getting. Just the increase for 2026. What I want to underline here is that the development of infrastructure is quite very critical. The investment in higher level skills at secondary and tertiary level is very appreciable. This country has not seen development outcomes simply because we have been investing in foundational skills alone. And these foundational skills, we don't even put them in our CVs. If I told you to give me my CV, you will not give me the CV with foundational skills. But I'll see grade 12 there because it's important. I'll see tertiary there because it is important. And look at the increase. If you look at secondary school now has 35% of the budget. Unprecedented. Tertiary education has seen an increase from 6.7% of the budget in 2025. of the education budget to the current 9.3%. That is unprecedented. So if we continue, and this I must underline, investing in foundational skills is very critical, but it's not the end in itself. We need to invest in high-level skills as well. Okay. And this progressive, investment in infrastructure, as you have outlined, of 2.6 billion, is going to actually help us realize the real benefits of our education system.
All right. Before I bring in Honorable Kamboni, the minister talked about Copperbelt University and University of Zambia as some of the institutions that will benefit. But again, it's blank on other public universities. Do you think that statement was fair for other public universities? We have Nkwame Nkrumah, we have Mulungushi. Don't you think this was supposed to be highlighted in the budget?
Yes, you are right. The infrastructure needs actually,
because they won't have any grip to demand.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the hope is that government is following the principle of equity, and equity means that you have to invest the little resources where they are needed most, or where they are greatest problems. And maybe that is appreciable in that case. But what we expect is that also there is need for prioritization. If we are thinly spreading resources every year, then we are not going to achieve much. So the hope is that even if they invest in the two universities, we want to see that the next budget in 2027 will prioritize these other universities that they have left
Honorable
out.
Kamboni,
yeah.
The 2.6 billion kwacha to education infrastructure, of which 1.6 billion is for construction of 120 secondary schools, well, 300.5 million is for completion of stored hostels. Your comment as committee chairperson.
Well, first I wanted to say all the steps of education are very important, all the levels. Foundation, primary, so if you don't have a good foundation, you will fail at primary. If you have not done very well at primary, you will not even go to secondary school. So all the levels are very important, first of all. Like right now, when you talk of foundation level, I went to this school, Wacha. There were about 1,500 students. You're with me here. And 700 of them were doing catch-up. What does that mean? You had students who would go to grade 7, grade 8, couldn't even read or write. So they have to be brought to catch up, to be taught. Those were at level 1. Level 1 in my class, which I observed, they were grade 5s, grade 4s, grade 3s. It means these were not able to read or write. So they were being helped now. There was even one student from grade 8 who was brought to grade 5 under catch-up. So what I'm trying to say is, if foundation learning also is not properly done, you have a lot of students not going further. They will go to grade 8, grade 12, they have not started off. They are not slow learners, but the system has not allowed them to show what they are able to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, everything is very important. In fact, what is lacking more now is foundation learning. We need more textbooks on foundation learning. We need more teachers. This early childhood, there are very few teachers that we employed. It is just starting now, So initially when we were growing up, we used to say, these preschools were only in Osaka. Some of us went to the village, they were not there. But we would also love to say, not everybody who lived in Osaka went to, a preschool. But the point I'm trying to say, foundation learning is very important, because if this house does not have a foundation, it won't be a house. It will collapse.
Your comment on the allocation?
The allocation is okay. You see, University of Zambia and even Copperbelt University, they have huge problems. We went there, we were invited at the University of Zambia. You go to a laboratory, there were only 2 sockets working. 2 sockets, 3 microscopes, and there were more than 40 students, very eager to learn. And then went to a school of medicine, farmers. There were so many students in the laboratory, So you can't learn where there is no equipment. You need to invest a lot, and this is where Rwanda has done so well. You go to Rwanda, you see how the laboratories are equipped. They can handle anything. Our friends now are able to do location through science. You cannot have science without investing in infrastructure and materials. So really, for me, I think that's a step forward. But when coming to your saying, other, government institutions have not been, in terms of, like Mulongoshi, I think University of Zambia and Copperbelt, they have huge problems. Huge problems in debt, huge problems in infrastructure. And this government is really doing its best to actually go try to solve the accommodation issue, but you go to the hostels, pipes burst, you look at the showers. We went there. I think they need quite a lot of money.
All right, so let's get to the minister's speech. I have about 4 minutes to wind up because we have a live committee that is coming at 9 thereabouts. And the minister, on his speech, he did say that to improve the teacher-pupil ratio, government has allocated 80.3 million for the recruitment of 2,000 teachers. Further, he proposes to increase the allocation to the school feeding program. I know this one is very close to your heart, looking at where you're coming from, your constituency, to the school feeding program to about 534.4 million in 2025 to keep learners in school and improve learning outcomes. Your take on these pronouncements, that the proposals that the Minister of Finance made? Quickly, maybe under a minute.
Yes, the issue of the school feeding program is quite very important. As you know, we have brought a lot of children in school, and these are children who are from very poor, background, who were unable to pay school fees. So this actually resonates well with the free education policy, knowing that we have brought in people that are very vulnerable, and most of them may not have, the opportunity to have all the meals at home, and therefore to retain them in school, we need to ensure that we provide these meals. Okay. And by going to all the 116 districts now, this is going to be quite progressive, and we are happy that government has
Honorable Company,
done that.
80.3 million for the recruitment of 2,000 in 2025. I think we did see a text message. We concentrated much on next year's recruitment, which is about 3,500. But the minister also touched on the 2,000 that are earmarked for.
I mean, look, we have done very well. In Africa, maybe in the whole world, this is the only government that is employing so many teachers at a go. Within 4 years, the number of teachers, this is remarkable. I mean, but we're talking about overcrowding. You can say, I'll tell you one thing. We have countries that don't have minerals. They have no copper, they have no diamond, but they are doing better than us. They are in a developed nation now. Singapore, why? It's because they invested in human resource. So if we invest in human resource, that's the answer to Zambia's problems. The human resource will take this country to a different level. And how can we do that? We need teachers. We need infrastructure. There are a number of factors that will build a good student. It's not on one area. And so really looking at the debt that we inherited and how they are able to get this money to give back to them. Because the best gift you can ever give somebody, your child, is education. The wealth can disappear.
All right, the 200 and the 534.4 million kwacha allocated to keep learners in school program coming from a rural constituency, Honorable, under a minute as we went down.
It's excellent because the students will see the school attractive for them to be there, and they have done very well. And you see, we need all partners in education. Like I said, it takes the whole society to grow a child. So really, all these things that are coming are very good, and we encourage the government even to do more. Like I said, we need to invest in the human resource if this country is go to a different level.
All right, as we wind down, I'll be able to read just a few text messages. The number that we're using is 0978772801. Let's see if we have 1 or 2 text messages right here. The number is 0978772801. Let's see some of the text messages that you people have been sending. All right, a lengthy one. Career guidance has been neglected since independence. A career choice is highly dependent on the socio-economic status. This creates a huge inequality among learners from underprivileged communities. A son of a president farmer in Kashinangaji who has never heard of actuarial science of software engineering will never make a choice to study them. a child in Kabulonga and Kaoma should have equal access to information. Thank you so much. I'm sure my two guests will be able to comment. I like the way the Honorable has articulated the matter regarding degree holders. If a class teacher upgrades to a higher paper, let them continue in the role of a class teacher, but the salary be scaled according to the paper, not giving them offices. We are losing well-backed teachers in the name of promotion. Thank you so much. Somebody honorable is agreeing with your earlier statement. Manzi John Chitala from Lumezi in Eastern Province. The budget presentation is just okay, and we thank government for the new curriculum. Thank you so much. Lumezi, they are being represented. Okay, so those are the text messages that we've received. Yeah, we are concluding now, Honorable Kamboni, and the other aspect that we left out was the 1.4 billion allocated to higher education, loans and scholarship board, and maybe just quick comments as your concluding remarks.
Yes, like I said, it's really remarkable, and we need to support this government and all those people that are down now to implement what the government has given. We must do our level best. You know, all of us, because this is the best investment we need. I'm happy now that in the education system leakage has reduced, or maybe we haven't heard of much of leakage, because that's very important. Because if you give leakage to a child, what education does is to develop a correct attitude. So if you now bring in a leakage, that child everywhere will need leakage. They will never be able to do anything. You are destroying the whole child.
Zanek.
So really, I think we do all we're supposed to do in all the structures of education.
The 1.4 billion allocated to the higher education loans scholarship board, do you think it's sufficient to help more especially families or children that are coming from vulnerable communities? Is it enough?
Well, it's a progressive, allocation in the sense that it represents an increase from this year. But what we should know really is that, and this goes to the prospective students that are going in first year next year. It's important for them to know that there are some universities that are given scholarships, and they have not managed to take up all of them because there are few students that apply. So Mukuba University, for instance, Robert Makasa University, they have always gotten all of them that go. But the problem is that everyone wants to go to UNS and CBU. Okay. That's where the problem is. They are left out on that account, and then they start complaining. Okay. So these funds are enough. The students need to select the right universities.
Zanek, when are you appearing, and which committee are you appearing before I move to the area member of parliament?
We are appearing on Monday before the Education, Science and Technology Committee.
It's here, so you'll be interacting with him.
Yeah, the chair will be quizzing me, yes.
All right, Honorable, the people of Choma, Kalomo, yes. I should say, in your constituents, Kalomo Central, there is one text message that I have on the screen from would be your voter, the people that are. I think you can look at it from Kalomo there. Please kindly find out from the MP, why is Jongo Primary and Secondary schools asking us to school fees to build classes when they have CDF? This thing was abolished, and there you go.
Well, I'm learning it for the first time. I think Chonga, because CDF, when we plan it this year, this is what we are going to do next year. So we can't abruptly, are you with me here? So we have Nazlongo, parents are building, but we have finished building at Nazlongo a teacher's house just there, and one classroom that was blown. But they are building now 1 by 3 to accommodate grade 8 on their own. So what we have done is we have helped them with 100 pockets of cement. It's a community. And so even in Chonga, they want to have grade 8. So they are also building 1 by 3. But we gave them a laboratory that we just finished, and also all the desks, and we'll help them at some point.
Is it right for them to ask parents?
No, well, that's information I will have to go and find out.
So this weekend, I'm sure you have a date with Jongwe management.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for waking up early. Zanek as well, our all-weather friend, must say thank you so much for being with us and articulate issues of national interest. And we'll be calling on your door again just to have a discourse on these national matters, and wishing you all the best. Honorable, which head are you, submissions are you receiving?
There are many today. We are going up to 1430, and 1430 we have Invest of Zambia. The last one today.
So are we able to have you maybe later in the day at 1730 just to look at the heads that you consider? I don't know, depending on your schedule today. Anyway,
I always
we'll talk about that.
You told me to go to the constituency.
Thank you so much, Honorable.
Thank you.
There you have it, viewers and our listeners. This has been for today's budget analysis for 2026. We know that members of Parliament and committees in various committee rooms here at Parliament and an extension of Parliament at Mulungushi Conference Center receiving submissions and various heads that we expect these committees to make their submissions and recommendations to the expanded Planning and Budgeting Committee. My name is Paulson Tindovi. I had two guests this morning, Mr. Harry Kamboni, MP for Kalomo constituency, that's Kalomo Central constituency, and he's the chairperson of the Committee on Education, Science and Technology. The other guest that I had was Mr. George Hamusunga, Executive Director from the Zambia National Education Coalition, that's ZANEC, and my sign language interpreter for today has been Jason Manda. Thank you so much to all of you that have sent in your text messages, and those of you that have just been following us. I know we have the next committee coming at 9:30. We'll do this next week on Tuesday. God bless.